What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and oh my lord, yesterday was just a fire day in the DPS Vortex, where apparently our boy Phil got triggered multiple times. Why? Well, he got triggered because of the LTG DM, where he essentially threatened Phil, aka his words. Apparently he's being accused of stealing someone's logo off of their merch store. And the Dent streak is over. That's right. 3 things that happened yesterday that made our boy Phil extremely sad. By the way, speaking of merch, as you can see, your boy Duty has been inspired to create his own merch. Our boy Phil here is the spokesperson, our motto of our shirt. And that's right, Duty Mania. Duty Mania is coming to a merch store near you. So once it's out, I want to make sure that you guys go out and buy every single one of them. Buy a shirt for your grandparents, for your parents, for your pets, your children, your horses, whoever. I want you to buy and make it go out of stock. That's right. That way we can stick it to Phil. Just like he likes sticking it to the trolls, let's stick it to Phil. So once that comes out, you guys make sure that you dig in deep and you buy often. So let's see what Phil had to say on the Daily Wrap.
Phil here, and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Tuesday, the 17th of September 2024. It was a good streaming day, although there is some sad news, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. I'll explain now. Basically, today we had a podcast that was kind of like an odds and ends roundup. First of all, I had to waste a giant chunk of the podcast proving that this logo on my shirt was not stolen from anyone else, but was actually purchased from a website for use, in commercial use, and it's totally fair that I can do that because it's legal. Someone on the internet was claiming they created this font or whatever and logo, and they lied. They did not do that. You can tell even by looking at their website. They claimed they trademarked it. They never trademarked it. We did a trademark search live on the podcast and everything. So basically a bunch of people trying to cause trouble where it doesn't exist. They're just jerks. But I had to waste a big segment of the podcast on that. Then another segment, I responded to LTG sending me a DM on Twitter.
All right, first of all, let's stop here and address the stolen logo drama issue that's going on here. Phil, the dude didn't say you stole anything. He didn't claim you stole anything. I'm not sure where you got that from, that tweet. The guy just said, hey, just to let you know, I created this logo 10 years ago. You're using it, and it's fine if you use it. I just would like a shout out. That's all the guy said. No one said anything else other than that. You were the one being a belligerent asshole to the dude and basically told him to piss off. When what you should have done was you should have just contacted the guy. You could have put a tweet and say, hey, I'm going to DM you. You DM the guy, you talk to him, you see what he has to say. And if he just wants a shout out, you'll say, okay, dude, not a problem. I mean, someone created this. It may look similar, whatever. It's not a big deal. And then you move on with it, Phil. But of course, Phil wants to make everything a fucking problem, man. This guy, he's back to 2010 Phil again, where we get the attitude where he can't do anything wrong, where the detractors are lying about everything. And the other thing is, what detractor was out there saying you stole this? No one said that. I mean, there were a couple people out there in the Vortex fucking with you and saying, yeah, Phil stole it. But for the most part, people just talked about it. Like myself, I made a video just talking about the facts, like you like to say, Phil, where this person came out and said this, right? You were belligerent to the person. And then yesterday on your podcast, you came out and you discussed the issue and in very autistic detail. And you went through it and you showed why you believe that it wasn't stolen. And I don't think anyone is saying stolen. That's another thing, Phil. You're the only one that's saying stolen. No one is saying you stole this. Okay, Phil? I mean, this is just artwork. And everyone knows, I mean, I'm guilty of it myself, where I'll go on the Google, type in an image, I crop something out, and I use it for a thumbnail. Do I credit everyone? Probably not. So we understand this. The issue here is that someone specifically came out and said, hey, dude, I made this 10 years ago, which you can verify. You can go on Google and verify. It's not like he's lying about that, right? And he did create it before you, right? And he's just saying, dude, give me some credit for it. That's all I would like. I would like for some credit. But of course, Phil always thinks this is some detractor plot, right? That some detractor is lying and he's trying to let Phil use it so that later on he can screw him in the back end. So once Phil makes this merchandise, he'll start selling it. Then the guy's going to contact the store and say, hey, I own that. I'm doing a takedown of it. That's what Phil's worried about. And of course, he's worried that everyone in the world is out to get him. Are there a lot of people that want to get Phil? Yeah, there probably is, and I can understand his hyper paranoia from time to time. But the guy didn't come out and be rude or anything. He simply just said, "Hey, man, I made this. You can use it. I just like a shout out." That's all he said. And if you want it, the right thing to do, is to reach out to the guy, talk to him, get it in writing, and say, "All right, whatever. If you think it's yours, you're allowing me to use it, and I can sell it or whatever," and just have it in writing. But no, you want to be a belligerent asshole and curse this guy out and tell him to go pound sand in a tweet because you think you're Mr. Bad Guy. It's just ridiculous, Phil. You tend to make more problems for yourself, and then what that does is it makes you look defensive. So then the detractors are going to jump on top of that, start mocking you, make fun of you, and then that's where it spirals out of control, Phil. I don't. You talk about LTG and these other content creators who don't get the game, right? You don't get the game. You don't get the game that you're going to do something. The detractors, whoever, going to make fun of you. They're going to post something, right? And okay, if you want to respond and you want to talk about it and you want to do whatever you want to do and you want to felt the detract, that's fine. But you should keep it at that, Phil. You going off for 25 minutes ranting and raving, trying to prove that you're not lying, is ridiculous. And the other thing Phil did is he threatened a lawsuit against detractors that are egregious and make slanderous lies. What slander lie, Phil? What are you talking about? Highlighting the fact that someone came out on Twitter and said, "Hey, I own this. I made this. Can you at least give me a shout out?" And you say, "No, it's not." How is that slander? How is it libel or slander to just report out information and give opinion? You're just pathetic, Phil. And all that does is just makes you look like the locale that you are, because now people are mocking you because you're threatening a lawsuit, which is even more funnier. So let's keep going.
After a year and a half of having me blocked and threatening me, and it was absolutely hilarious. So that was the podcast. Notably, you may notice I haven't been talking about gaming news that much recently because there just isn't any. Like, the news that's been coming out isn't notable. Like, oh, Battlefield, the new one, will be worked on by 4 different dev teams. I don't care. When we get information about the game and we see gameplay or whatever, I don't care about this, like, early development cycle nonsense. But that's all the game news has been recently. Like, really crap. It's like, so I have nothing to talk about. I ended up having podcasts that have nothing to do with gaming recently. I would love to get back on the gaming bandwagon. If there's actual news on gaming, I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. Anyway, so after the podcast.
All right, so yeah, he quickly mentioned LTG, and that was a 27-minute rant. Apparently, Phil likes 27-minute rants, because that went on for 27 minutes, where he essentially made fun of LTG, talked about his bank account yet again, talked about his DMs that he provided him, which is never cool. You should never bring up DMs and talk about DMs, Phil. But Phil actually decided to do that, which whatever. And he didn't decide to address any of the points in there. He just decided to mock to mock LTG. And you know what's going to happen. Eventually, Phil is going to get more detractors coming his way, probably LTG people, because there are several thousand people that support Phil, right? You're going to have LTG people coming to Phil's stream, and they're going to start fucking with him. He doesn't get that. And if he's fine with that, okay, whatever. If you want your moderators to go crazy, tamping down people fucking with your viewers on your stream. And again, I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying that's what typically happens, you know, when you continuously attack someone, because that's what you're doing. You're continuously attacking LTG. And when you get someone that big, because LTG has a big following. I mean, as much of a locale he is, you still have people that support him and watch him and stuff like that. So what you're just doing is you're just poking. You're poking the hornet's nest, I guess. But if you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, you really think he's not going to address your comment back and forth? And which is fine, because of course this is all part of the game. It's all part of the game, milking content, and that's what you're doing. So as long as we're clear that's what you're doing, Phil, you're milking content. Because again, what's this? Your 6th rant about LTG in a matter of 2 weeks? If we're all on the if we're all on the same page and understanding that you're just milking drama, then we're cool. I got nothing else to say about it. It's just more content for me, so keep at it. It's when you start bitching and complaining that LTG's viewers are harassing you and or LTG is when you go there, then I have no sympathy for you, because again, you're stepping into this drama, and let's not forget Phil's not into drama. You're stepping into this drama, so when you have fallout, you're gonna have to deal with it, Phil.
We jumped into Astrobot, which was great today. We actually completed the level 2 boss and a whole entire world that was based on God of War. Then we went to a whole new Nebula Galaxy, whatever it's called, which was the third one. We did everything in it but the boss. So basically, on a 3-hour stream, we can get through an entire stage, chapter, whatever it's called, of the game. So we made great progress. I think after today, arguably, we're a little over halfway through the game. I think there's 5 of these nebulas or whatever. And then maybe like a finale world or something like that. So great progress, great graphics, great fun, but the support just wasn't there. We did get gifted memberships, we did get super chats, but most of all of those were during the podcast. We got $50 in tips. That was it. So what can I do? I don't think it's because the game's bad. I just think that it's not going to be endless. We're not going to endlessly be receiving that level of supportive tips. It's going to every once in a while peter out, and that's okay. I had a great time with the stream. There was no complaints. Okay. The late stream tonight was WWE Champion.
Yeah, Phil, it didn't sound like that. It didn't sound like that while you were on the while you were on stream. If you guys didn't watch it, I did sample. I did a quick compilation of Phil begging and trying to encourage the Dents to rally and hit that $150 goal, and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen for several reasons. One, of course, what's today's date? Today's the 7th. The 17th was yesterday. So of course the Velcro wallets just dried up. There's only but so much money you can throw, Phil. I'm sorry. No one has endless pockets to continuously try to throw money to Phil and stick it to the trolls. The other thing too is that your shtick is getting boring, Phil. How longer can you do this whole Dent streak thing? The King's coffers. It's just played out. It's played out, Phil. And again, I mentioned yesterday that your biggest problem is that you beat something to death. You did it with the vest streak. You do it with a hope. I can ramble off a couple things that you did it with the fishing game, the Bassmaster, with the lures and all that. You beat something to death until no one cares. You did it with tier makers. You continuously keep trying to milk it, and eventually it just becomes boring and stale. And that's what's kind of happening with the Dent streak. It's becoming boring and stale where people just don't care. And the problem with you, Phil, is that you always pivot at the last minute. You know, once it's dead, once you beat that horse and it's dead and you can't get anything out of it, then you sit and soak and complain that it's over, right? And then, of course, you eventually blame your supporters for letting it die. And then it takes you another month or 2 or 3 to come up with a new gimmick to finally pivot. And I think that's your problem, Phil. I think what you should do is you should take this opportunity now that the Dent streak died for a third time, not a second time, a third time, because we all know that it died about a week ago, and of course he got that fake Hail Mary tip. Now that it died, Phil, maybe you might want to move away from that. It's fine if you want to track it. You want to post it or track it or whatever, and you want to make it part of your leaderboard. I guess that's fine. But for you to make your whole stream about that, because it is. You bring it up constantly. It's not like before where you used to beg every break, and when you were really desperate, you would beg maybe 2 or 3 times through the hour segment. No, bro, you're bringing that shit up like constantly. It's like that's your whole shtick. It's give me money. I don't care what we're doing. It doesn't matter what we're doing. It doesn't matter whether you're having fun. As long as we continue filling my coffers. And it gets stale and boring, Phil. It does. You're not offering anything different or new to your viewers. And yeah, you got your 4 or 5 whales that are coming out and supporting you, Phil. But again, what new are you offering? You better come up with something new soon. Because the Kino guys are coming back, and I'm pretty sure most of those people that are out here watching your content will probably trickle back over to Kino, and supporting 2 streamers the way they do is going to be very difficult. So if they have to choose between you and Kino, I'm pretty sure that they're going to choose Kino. And you know that, Phil. You do. I know you know it. That's why you're a little panicked when you can hear it in your voice when you're only at $50 and there's only like 20 minutes left at the end of the stream, because you know eventually, soon, this is all going to dry up and go away. And you have no plan B. You don't. You're like a you're a one-trick pony, Phil, and there's nothing in your bag of tricks that you can come up with. And again, most of the stuff that you've come up with in the past, you didn't come up with it. Someone else did. Your viewer did. The Vest Streak, the Fishing Lures, the King Streak, the King's Tax, or the King's Tip. Those are all things that were suggested by the Philomania shirt. That wasn't you. That was one of your supporters that suggested it. So you wait for someone to actually come up with a suggestion instead of being proactive and trying to find something that will, help this out. The last thing I think that you were trying to be kind of proactive was when the Vest Streak ended, where you tried to come up with a new shtick, spinning in your chair. If you hit the goal, you'll eat Skittles. Just stupid shit like that. That was probably the last time you even had a monicum of a reflection to try to come up with a plan. So anyway, that's it, folks. He rambles on about the night streak, about WWE Champions. Nothing like getting $150 in WWE Champions and then spending $110 on Hogan pools. Great business plan there, Phil. The other thing too is that he also requested that his dents that are in his guild start spending money on WWE Champions. That's right, you can't believe it. Not only does he want people to support him, he wants people to support Scopely and maybe get a mobile game addiction very similar to him. It's pretty pathetic, guys. Anyway, that's all I have. By the way, don't forget Duty Mania shirt is out there. It's running wild on you. You make sure to buy everyone in your family a shirt. If you don't, then I'm coming for you. Peace out.